I didn't play football at all until I got to high school, and once that happened, kind of immediately fell in love with it. Some of my coaches were my biggest mentors and role models when I was growing up, and I ended up kind of realizing right away that I wanted to play football in college. Ended up playing at Bridgewater State, which is now was Bridgewater State College at the time. It's Bridgewater State University, and now went into education specifically because I knew I wanted to get into coaching. Ended up going back to the town I'm from, Lowell. Worked as an assistant coach for a great coach. He really got me started, Scott Boyle. He's the defensive coordinator at Bentley now, and he really kind of set the foundation, and learned a ton from him. We went all over the place to different colleges, different games all the time. Really, really learned a lot about football from him. He was more of a defensive coach. Later on, went to work for Jeff Moore, who was kind of more on the offensive side of the ball. So I learned a little bit more from him. Coached at a few different schools with him: Groton School, Drake High School, back to Lowell High School, and then the head coaching job in Lowell opened up, and I was already working there at the school, so applied for that. Went well. Was there for 9 years. Had a pretty good run. Kind of for various reasons, it came to an end, and then we talked about the athlete judge. I was about to get started with that. Got a call to go to Austin Prep as an assistant. Was there for an assistant during that one crazy COVID season, and right at that point, their head coach stepped down and was hired late in the year. Was able to get the head coaching job there, and we were in the MIA for a year, and then the last 2 years in the NEPSAC and the Prep School League.
Tell me more about your experience with Athletes Edge and how that's helped you communicating with athletes and, you know, helping with their overall just mental performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I did some coursework with through Brian Kane through his training program, and we really focus on your mindset. So every day when we start a meeting with our football team, we go over certain things that we lay out. We lay out our goals, expectations from our microscope goals, which means the ones you can see in detail, kind of the things you're working on today, to our long term. You're looking through a telescope, the ones you're looking way off into the future, and then we tie it back into trying to play that one moment at the time, or that one play at the time, and we want to work on competing that way: one play, one practice, one game, and continuously building on to the week and throughout the course of the season. And the other thing we talk about a lot is this mindset of good, which comes from the retired Navy SEAL Jocko Willink, and he has a whole video on that. It's really cool. We have wristbands that say good. I give the kids pens that say good, and it's kind of the mindset we have. When something goes bad, we don't get all bummed out and frustrated. We say good, move on to the next play, and just be ready to compete.
And I follow Jocko too. And,
Yeah,
you know,
he's the
just
best.
all of his stuff is just it's just so motivational. Like, you
And
know,
simple too, which he
it's
doesn't
simple.
get.
Yeah. It's simple to
Yep.
understand, you know,
Yeah. Yep.
and I think being a former athlete myself I played at Gettysburg College. So did you say was it Bridgewater State University or
Yes. Yep.
is that Division 3 or Division 2?
Division 3 in Massachusetts. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, similar levels. So I feel like at all levels of college football, regardless of where you're playing, you have to have that right mindset. And it's something that is being talked about a little bit more, but
hmm
it's still something that isn't really explored enough, I think, at every level quite yet. At the NFL levels and Division 1, it is, but having resources like what you put together with Athletes Edge, I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, kudos to you for that.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, no matter what level you're at, typically physical ability, everybody's going to be kind of similar. So it's really about taking that next step and, you know, using this as much as you use your physical body.
Definitely. How many years have you like officially been coaching at this point?
Oh, 20, I think it'll be 23. I was about 11 years as an assistant, and yeah, just completed 12 years as a head coach.
Gotcha. Your time as an assistant coach, how did that prepare you to be a head coach?
Yeah, working with Scott was definitely learned a lot about preparation. Like as a player, you kind of don't realize what goes on behind the scenes and how much work coaches have to do to prepare a game plan and the different things during the week. So, as young dumb kid thinking you're just going to walk in and do everything. I was really, really glad to connect with him and the detail that he put into everything was just absolutely incredible. And then working with Jeff, same thing. The detail, um, and just it's all the little things that go into trying to prepare a team that you may not see from the outside.
Definitely. And one of the cool things too, this should be episode 64 or 65 of the podcast. And just having a lot of these different conversations with coaches, what I've found is that, especially as a young coach, it's important to learn the X's and O's, but
Mhm.
all the other things that are important to the game have a similar amount of importance, like just understanding how to relate to kids, how to build a team culture, especially as a young head coach. So, can you talk about some of the other things that are like outside of X's and O's that have served you well over your career so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think you're kind of talking about culture. It's kind of a buzzword these days, but that's definitely a big part of it. It does definitely go football goes beyond the X's and O's, coaching goes beyond the X's and O's. It's about building that trust, the relationship, the rapport with student athletes rather. And it doesn't just happen in season, it happens throughout the weight room, throughout different activities that you'll do with the team throughout the course of the year.
Definitely. And yeah, like kind of like what you were saying, culture is like a buzzword nowadays, but all the values that have been held true like over the course of time from the Lombardi days back in the early days of football, they still hold true. And culture is, I think, more important than it is ever in today's day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a Texas high school coach, Randy Jackson, wrote a book. It was Culture Defeats Strategy or Culture Beats Strategy.
Mhm.
That was really good because you look throughout the course of history forever, like going back to Lombardi, there's been so many different types or styles of offense that have won, so many different types of styles of defense that have won. But no matter what scheme or strategy you want to use, it comes down to the work ethic and getting guys to play together
Definitely.
during games.
Definitely. And I talk about this a lot too. You might have heard of this guy. He's big on Twitter, Kurt Hines.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, love his
so I,
videos.
yeah, I just had him on one of my podcasts, and we were talking about culture, and it's kind of crazy to think you as a coach, you have to create that confidence in the kids that you're coaching, and then help them face a plethora of different scenarios, and that I feel like that's the job of the coach, is to not only prepare your players, but like prepare them to be confident to face any type of scenario and do it well regardless of what happens. Coach Hines, he was just talking about that, and I think he's really like the epitome of one of those guys that can not only coach the athlete, but also just get to know the student athlete, the kid, and the whole person in general.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the best things that come out of coaching are not the things that happen on the field. It's when you meet a kid 5, 10, for me now almost 15, 20 years down the road, and you see them become, husbands, fathers, and the things that they've done in their life. Those are kind of the things that you stick out more than the wins and the losses. When you get together, 15, 20 years, you're not really generally talking about a specific play or a specific game. It's all the little details, all the things that possibly happened off the field, not even on a practice field or in a game field, but the locker room, the fun times that the guys had together.
For sure.
You really want kids to have those experiences.
100% agree there. And, the coaches that have had the most impact on me, when I was in grade school, our team was pretty good. And I still keep in touch with those guys. Like
Hmm.
they've had a significant impact on my life. And same thing with my teammates. And we still talk about those days.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things I talk about with them is, and I got this from Dr. Rob Gilbert, who runs Success Hotline, but it's called SEE, significant emotional event, and that's what I try to create. Positive, not a negative one, of course, but
Yeah.
that's what we talk about a lot too. Significant emotional event, and you know, when it becomes more than the X's and O's and the emotions become involved, that's the kind of experience we're trying to get kids to have.
Any last words, Coach, you want to share with the audience today?
No, not really. Thanks for having me. Football is, obviously in our society and our culture going through some tough times, but it's really a great sport to build, character, the teamwork, to work together. We always try to do it as safely as possible. We do the, heads up, the rugby tackling, trying to keep the head out of the contact, and keep kids as safe as possible, and promote this great game.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for being on today. Appreciate you sharing about your coaching experience, athlete's edge, and mental performance in general.
All right, great. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.